All right, we're back with some fiery love today.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing. I think everyone's been in this place where they have said this. Mm-hmm. I've been here.
Yeah.
You know, and like, here's the thing. I will say I've been here when I'm like, sometimes when I'm feeling defeated and I'm like trying to justify for myself, or like, I know I'm not doing as good as I probably could or as well as I could. It's like, it's a make yourself feel better statement.
Yeah. I have definitely been here, and my coach basically was like, you're either going to get your shit together or we're not going to continue coaching because there's no trying. Like, you're either doing or you're not. And I was like, okay, I got it together real fast.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. If you get offended by this, then take that as this is probably something that you're doing.
All right. We ready?
Yep. All right.
Here we go. So we're talking about trying today, and trying, when people say like, I'm trying to eat healthier, I'm trying to go to the gym, I'm trying to drink more water, like I'm trying to read more, like, guys, this isn't quantifiable. How are we trying? Like, what actions are we actually putting into place to following through with these things? Because if we just wake up and keep assuming that like, well, today will be better and just kind of winging it, you have no idea how consistent you've been. Like, how are you measuring your progress with these things? Like, how do we quantify it? We can't quantify trying. And so when you say like, I'm trying to do something, I want you to stop and think about, I am doing 3 workouts a week. Like, put quantities in place, like put actionable things in place, goals, things that you can commit to and you can follow through with. Because if we simply say that we're trying, we're not really doing.
No, absolutely not. This is a very and this is something that I think a lot of people might start to realize they're saying more and more. And like you mentioned, I'm trying to eat healthier. That's like my least favorite statement ever, because it's like, okay, what are we doing to eat healthier? And what is eating healthier? Like, that's not very quantifiable either. When people always say like, well, I'm trying to eat healthier, it's like, well, I try not to eat bread, or it's just, there's zero like things that you can measure and put in place and take data on. And at the end of the day, if we want to figure out what works best for us, what works best for our body, there has to be a plan in place. And if you're just trying, there's probably not a plan in place. There's probably not like, I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z. I'm going to do it for this amount of time. I'm going to track how it goes for myself, and I'm going to evaluate and I'm going to adjust based off of what seems to work for me and what doesn't. But trying is just a way to make ourselves feel better, like we're doing something when we're not actually doing very much. We probably aren't. And it's one of those things where like, one of my old coaches used to say that trying was like giving yourself an out. It's like, yeah, I'm going to try and do that. Well, then it's okay if you don't, because you said you were going to try. So as long as if you tried, it's okay, right? But then you're not actually ever where you want to be. And so, no, then trying isn't okay. I'm going to either do or I'm going to not do. It is. And here's the thing is like, this isn't just about the word. It's about what it tells your brain when you say it. It's about, okay, I'm going to try and do that. In your brain's already like, well, you could not do it and it's fine too, versus, no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 3 days a week that I'm going to go to the gym at this time and I'm going to do it, versus I'm going to try and do that. Like, you can even hear the connotation. Like, you can't say try and be determined. It's just, I don't know. To me, they don't correlate. And so we need to change the wording, and we need to start putting ourselves accountable for things by creating measurable goals. And that's the thing. If they're not measurable, we never know if we do them or not.
Yeah.
There's just no way to know.
Yeah. So how can we start shifting this into something that's more productive? Because honestly, if you say that you're trying, it's just not productive. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're not going to get anywhere. So we have to have a plan, right? As Becca said, like, we have to put in measurables and track that consistency. So here's my question. If you say you're trying to eat healthier, are you going to the grocery store? Are you making a meal plan for the week? Do you have majority of your foods coming from 1 ingredient whole foods? If your goal is to drink more water this week, Great. How many ounces are you going to drink per day? At what point in time are you going to set alarms to remind you to drink that water, to check yourself? Like if my goal is to have 3 liters of water in the day, I don't want to be chugging 2 liters at 7:00 at night. So maybe I set some alarms. Like my rule of thumb is always 10, 1, and 3. I just like that. I just made it up myself and it seems to work for me. So you can adopt that if it want to, work for you too, but set an alarm at 10 a.m. Have you drank your first liter of water? If you haven't, that's your time. That's your trigger to start finishing that water. 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, same thing. 3 or 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the same thing. So that by the time it gets to dinner time, all your water is in for the day and you're not chugging this water and then waking up all night to go to the bathroom. If we look at, your week to month, how are we being consistent with these things? Like get a calendar out. Like I love, get a big desktop calendar, write down the 2 or 3 things that you're aiming to do. If it's your workouts, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, put that on the calendar. If it's water every day, put that on the calendar. Every time you achieve those things, put a green check mark, because what that does is it also it tells your brain and it shows you can do these things. It tells your brain that you're worthy, that you are someone who follows through and you actually show up for yourself. And every time you put that green check mark, it's more gratification, right? And you feel accomplished. You know that you haven't just tried, but you've actually done.
Yeah, absolutely. The calendar is great too, because it creates a visual, because on like a day-to-day basis, I don't remember what I did last Thursday. So I don't remember if I hit my water intake or it's just impossible to recall those things. And so when you have this calendar, you might think that you tried to do a good job and maybe did a good job. But when you can actually see every Thursday I miss this, or every week I do this when I should be doing this. Now you can start to put action plans in place. Like what happens every Thursday that makes you miss your water or your workout? Maybe that we talked to one of our clients the other day and she didn't get her workout in Monday night like she wanted to. And we were like, well, what happened Monday night? And she's like, well, The Bachelorette was on. And I was like, okay, so if that's that important to you, we don't schedule workouts for Monday night because obviously that's going to win out. And so we need to know ourselves. And this is what the calendar can help with, is it can help us identify these things to not put too much on ourselves and set ourselves up for failure. Because here's the thing, guys, we're not expecting you to be drill sergeant perfect all the time. But if you are trying and not really accomplishing anything substantial, we need to look at what's getting in the way and why don't we have these routines and habits in place. And for a lot of people, it's simply the measurable aspect of it. You don't have something that you're actually measuring. And 2, the accountability for most people. So the calendar can provide accountability for a lot of people. Coaches obviously provide accountability for people. I think that is a very undervalued aspect in nutrition and health. Everyone thinks that they can do it on their own. Yet we have, the highest obesity and overweight rate ever in the United States. And people are struggling more than ever with, their health and their mental health. And so, I digress. But anyways, the other thing is try kind of reminds me of should. I should do that, or I should have done that. It's just not a great word. I kind of in my eyes, I kind of want to remove it from my language. When I say try, I check myself and I'm like, what could I do differently here? What could I put in place differently? What word could I maybe use differently? What things will help me act on this better? And it's also kind of like motivation.
I was going to say, can we please remove the word motivation from everyone's vocabulary?
Excuse my French, fucking hate the word motivation. I hate how much people talk about motivation, whether it is you struggle with motivation and that's the reason why you aren't succeeding in whatever aspect of life that you think you need motivation for, or if you keep talking about motivation saying motivation isn't going to be there. We know that by now. Motivation doesn't exist, guys. It's not going to be there. I want to stop talking about it. You either do things or you don't. And there's reasons for doing things and not doing things. And those reasons might be valid. I'm not saying that they are not, but if we simply have not acted on something that we want to act on, it is your choice. It is no one else's choice. And people you can talk until the cows come home around, well, I have this going on and this going on and this going. Listen, guys, being busy is a choice too. Everything is a choice. It is your choice. And so, although yes, children make things difficult, guess what? It was our choice to have children.
Yep.
I had, that was my choice. He is something else some days. Like this morning, I have to tell this really fast.
Okay.
So I sent he went downstairs with Nick this morning. And I was like, okay, Nick's got him downstairs. I'll get ready. So it took maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, got dressed, put on makeup. And I go downstairs and Nick is in the kitchen, like about to come upstairs. And I was like, where's our child? And he was like, I thought you had him. And I was like, where is our kid? And so we run to the back and like he's sitting on the stairs of our backyard naked eating one of my protein bars. And I was like, oh my God, this is our life.
So does he just like undress himself now?
Well, in the morning, because we're potty training, we try to take his diaper off from overnight as quick as we can so he doesn't pee in it again. And he like actually goes to the bathroom in the morning. And so he had his pajama top on, but he doesn't have any pants on. And so he also goes outside so that Jersey doesn't eat his food, even though Jersey never eats his food. Jersey like won't even eat a treat unless I hand it to him. And so Carson's obsessed with my protein bars lately. So he goes in, gets his stool in the pantry, goes up into the pantry and gets a protein bar. So he turns around like Nick and I'm like frantic. I'm like, did he get in his police car and drive down the street? Cause that's what he does lately. Like, and he's just sitting on the back porch, just naked, eating my protein bar with chocolate over his face.
My God.
But anyways,
that's great. I'm not looking forward to potty training. I have to say, Marcus and I were taking a bath last night because he's boycotting baths. And so I'm like, I'll get into the bathtub with you. Let's have fun. Bubbles. And then, you know, he's standing there naked and he starts peeing and he's like, so like what, you know, because he's just kind of starting to learn like what this is and all these things. So I'm trying to explain to him like, yeah. And soon you're going to be going into your big boy potty and all these things. I'm really not looking forward to it. Anyways,
we digress.
Back to the topic of the day. You know, I think this is where when we look at our long-term goals and the vision that we have for ourselves, I want to take you all back to one thing, and you have to know what your why is. You have to know internally what is your driving motivation every single day. Because if we just keep saying like, I'm going to try to lose weight, I'm going to try to eat healthier.
I want to.
Right.
I want to. Okay.
Why do you want to?
Why?
What does it mean to you? How is your life going to change? How are you going to feel about yourself? How are you going to feel when you get to your goal? Why does that matter? Why is that, you know, something that you want to accomplish? And when you can really drill down to what that why is, then you're a lot more motivated. Oh, fuck. There's that word. You're a lot more inclined. You're a lot more inclined.
You're a lot more likely to do those things.
To be disciplined, right? To really say, I can't try anymore. I have to do this. I have to show up for myself. I have to take the actions necessary that align with my goal in order to get there. So Becca and I thought we would just share like a couple of our personal guidelines. You know, in different seasons of our life, we go through, you know, maintenance seasons, cut phases. She's in pregnancy right now. Like, it's different for every season, but I always have certain things that I know are non-negotiables for me that make me feel good. One of those is I'm working out a minimum of 3 times a week. My goal ultimately is 4, sometimes 5, minimum 3 times a week. And listen, last week, Marcus didn't sleep like the entire week. It was hell. Guess what? You can pivot. There's going to be things that come up. Your job is going to get busy. You're not going to sleep through the night because of your kids. Somebody else is going to need your attention. It's on you to prioritize, pivot, adjust, say no to things, and get your workout in. Like, at the end of the day, there's not a nice way to say that, right? It's a choice. And if we skip these things week to week and month to month, don't be upset if you're maintaining.
Or if you're like reversing in your progress. You guys, this is the thing, is it's not always going to be perfect either. Like, I think we have everyone struggles with this all or nothing mindset of, well, I can't get in my workout at the time that I wanted to. And, you know, I'm distracted and it's not going to be a good workout because I haven't slept as great this week. Just move. Like, take that time and still commit to yourself and commit to your brain that this is what you do, because that instills the discipline, that instills the consistency with it. Like, I don't work out right now because it feels good. I feel like a whale. Like, my movement is different. My body hurts in different ways. Like, I move right now because I really just want to keep up with the consistency and the routine of moving. Because I know postpartum, it's going to be another hard thing to kind of keep up with that. And so we have to understand that like the guidelines that Liz and I have in place, these are not like, I'm going to try and do those so that I can, you know, keep up with my health or I can try and lose weight. Like, no, these are things I do no matter what. Unless I'm on vacation, that's really like the only time, and even on vacation, I still exercise. I still keep a lot of these things in place. I still keep my sleep in place, honestly, on vacation, but it's more so going out to eat. Like, my rule with going out to eat, I don't eat out more than 2 times a week unless absolutely necessary. And only one of those times is like a more indulgent meal. And the only reason that I have these things in place is because I have found if I do more than that, I don't feel well. I start to gain weight. My body starts to get inflamed. My joints hurt. Like, I have had trial and error with these things, and everyone's looks different. With alcohol, if I'm in a season of life where I'm like choosing to include that in a balance, I still don't do more than 1 to 2 times a week, 1 to 2 drinks in those sittings, because I know if I do more than that consistently, I gain weight. I don't sleep well. I feel like shit. And so these things are they are not negotiable in my life. They are not negotiable in my mind, because I have developed them over time, experiencing not feeling good. And to me, feeling good is just worth it. Like, and that's my why. That is honestly my why. Like, yes, I want to be an example for my kid. Yes, I want to feel good in my skin. But like, at the end of the day, I've felt like shit too many times to care to choose that drink that like is the extra drink that, you know, random Saturday night, or to choose, I don't want to cook tonight. Let's just order in. Like, I've had too many moments where I don't feel good, and that is more important to me than anything. And I feel it pretty immediately. And so for me, that's a strong enough why. That might not be your why, but you need to find something that is going to help you stick to these things, because at the end of the day, trying's not enough.
Yep. And so going back to that point that you mentioned, we have the same rule in our house. We don't go out to eat more than twice a week. And one of them is indulgent. One of them is just because my husband loves burritos on Taco Thursday. I haven't been partaking that the last couple of weeks because we've had so many delicious leftovers. But if that is a guideline that you put into place for yourself, guess what that forces you to do? It forces you to have a plan in place for all your other meals for the week. Like, you know that you need to make a meal plan. You need to go grocery shopping. You need to get the right foods in the house so that you don't find yourself hitting the drive-thru or ordering in or going out to eat more than you have set in terms of your guidelines. And yes, there will be weeks that this might change. There's going to be weeks that you're going to have to pivot and you are going to adjust. But we recommend for everyone out there to think about, what are your personal guidelines? What makes you feel good? What makes you show up for yourself in ways that makes you feel happier and confident, and again, just becomes more of a disciplined person rather than somebody who just is going to try to do something and then nothing ever gets done.